Hello, fellow classmates and Professor Nim. My name is Jessica Padilla. My group members Grace Kim, Kaylee McClure, and Nathan Soley and I dedicated our time to researching the impact of police brutality on consumer behavior. These past few months have been life-changing for all of us. We have had to completely modify how we interact with each other and with the world around us. With so much change occurring, it is easy to see that consumer behaviors are changing drastically as well. Our research is centered around a pressing issue in this country, the issue of police brutality towards members of the Black community. We focused our research on consumers' attitudes, connectedness, and social influence. We are interested in identifying if and how the opposition to police brutality has a significant impact on consumers' buying behavior. Our motivation to research this topic comes from a desire to gain an understanding on how consumers view police brutality towards Black communities and how that affects their consumption methods. We as students and as future marketers have the opportunity to educate ourselves and others around us on the various manifestations of systemic racism in our society. As students of a beautifully diverse university, we see firsthand how different races come together to create an environment where success not only lives but thrives.
After hearing a little bit about recent events and the motivation to do a study on them, we have decided to form 3 specific research questions to shape our project. Our first question is, how has police brutality impacted consumers' attitudes on certain brands? Next, we want to see how has police brutality changed consumers' typical buying behaviors? And thirdly, does social media play a part in helping consumers decide whether they will support a brand or not? Next, we will talk about the different hypotheses we have for each question. For research question 1, our null hypothesis is police brutality has not had an impact on consumers' attitudes on various brands. Our alternative hypothesis is that police brutality has had a negative impact on consumers' attitudes on certain brands. Our alternative is the one we seek to prove in this research. For research question 2, our null hypothesis is that the police brutality has not changed consumers' typical buying behaviors, and the alternative hypothesis we hope to prove is that police brutality has changed consumers' typical buying behaviors. For research question 3, our null hypothesis is social media does not help consumers decide whether they will support a brand, and the alternative hypothesis is that social media does help consumers decide whether to support a brand. For our research methodology, we performed a survey on Qualtrics, including several different survey questions to see consumers' attitudes and beliefs on the current situations and how it will affect their purchases in the future. We sent it out to 50 Georgia State undergraduate students, hoping to at least get 30 students to respond to have a good amount of data. And for our secondary data, we found data through interviews released, like the one Killer Mike spoke at the mayor's address on Friday at the beginning of the riots and protests. We've also looked at tweets and other social media posts from celebrities and brands to gather more data to support our findings and prove what steps people should take next.
The results from this survey conclude that overall the study was successful in supporting all of our alternative hypotheses. The findings for research question 1 is backed by question 3 from our survey. The question states, as a consumer, will you be less likely to support companies who do not support the Black Lives Matter movement? As you can see from the results, the majority of the answers were yes. The results can conclude that consumers will have an opposing view on brands that do not support the BLM movement. The findings for research question 2 is aided by question 7. Question 7 states, some brands have made large donations to political campaigns, like Wendy's donating $400,000 to President Trump's campaign. Does this make you more or less likely to go to Wendy's? The findings for this question are more skewed, but about half the participants fell in line with our hypothesis. In addition, a statement from a participant reads, I don't want to continue to put money in the hands of people that continue to oppress and benefit from racism. This testimonial supports our hypothesis. Most consumers will change their buying behavior patterns if the companies support acts that are unfavorable to the Black Lives Matter movement. The findings from research question 3 is aided by questions 2, 9, 12, and 14 from our survey. Question 2 asked participants, have you been informed of these events on social media? 100% of participants answered yes. Question 9 asks, will brands who post their support and donations on social media be more or less likely to gain your support? The results found that 76.47 are more likely. In addition, question 12 asks, if negative social media posts about a particular brand deter you from purchasing it? 58.82 answered yes, and 41.18 answered somewhat. On question 14, a participant answered, with a post about a brand not supporting Black Lives Matter will cause me not to support that brand. These findings prove that our hypothesis for research question 3 are met. In addition to our primary research, we have testimonials from Killer Mike and Monroe Bergdorf. Mike states his stance on what is happening to encourage others to join him. Ms. Monroe shares her viewpoint with working with L'Oreal and how the brand is being hypocritical. Both Mike and Bergdorf can be seen as a part of informational influence. They both provide information on how to take actions against racism. In conclusion, all our findings from the primary and secondary research support the claims and hypothesis we made. The effects of how companies support police brutality efforts have impacted consumers' views and behaviors towards brands.
The marketing implications of the impact of police brutality on consumer behavior seem obvious. There's a lot that goes into something as sensitive as police brutality and social injustice, especially when it comes to businesses addressing these issues. Marketers have a responsibility to focus directly on the customer. If the majority of customers that patronize a company cares about something, then that company should absolutely prove that they care about the same thing. Consumers aren't going to support a business that they don't think supports them. The survey asked the survey takers if they could explain if they would be more or less likely to support the Lives Matter movement. And someone said that they wouldn't, because if they don't support me, they don't deserve my support. When it comes to addressing sensitive issues, it's important for companies to be delicate and respectful. A lot of businesses seem disingenuous when addressing social issues, and that doesn't sit well with customers. If a business seems careless when stating their support, consumers won't believe that the business actually cares about the situation. Due to the fact that a lot of consumers use social media, brands like to release statements or show support using social media. Access to information in social media makes it easy for them to do so, but it also gives consumers the opportunity to give their opinions. As we all know, people love to give their opinions. And if their opinion is negative, that can reach millions of people in hours. If their opinion about a brand is negative, and whether or not people should be a part of that brand's culture and support them, that could be detrimental to the success of said brand. The country is going through an important time, and it's the responsibility of marketers to be clear and respectful when showing their support for positive change for that company. Not doing so would have a very negative impact. All right, Black Lives Matter.